guys, I'm Casey and welcome to Reviewsday Tuesday, where I review books I've recently read and liked and hopefully recommend some books for those of you who like to read. Today's pick is When You Reach Me by Rebecca Stead. It is another Newbery Award-winning book, which means that it has made a distinguished contribution to children's literature, although I happen to find this one a little bit more young adult than children-y, just based on the content, but that's just me. The main character of this book is Miranda, who is 12 years old in 1979, living with her single mother in the big city of New York, and she has to deal with the changing landscape of growing up and moving on with her life and navigating the streets, and there are the big kids on the corner and the homeless man on her street, and a lot of this book has to deal with how you feel safe and safety walking home and being a latchkey kid, and that was a really interesting part for me because I never had to deal with any of that, living in a fairly small city and having a stay-at-home mother. Miranda's best friend Sal early in the book stops being her friend, so she has to now navigate middle school and find new friends with whom to eat lunch, and she gets a job, and she starts receiving these very strange notes that she thinks that someone's kind of stalking her or that it's broken into her house, because she's finding notes in her coat pockets and her library books, and she doesn't really know who they're from, but they're starting to freak her out. The big mystery of the book is who is sending Miranda these notes. Why has Sal decided not to be her friend anymore? Who stole the money from the piggy bank? And other little twists and turns that, keep you interested. There's a lot of adult themes in this book, like racism and how hard it is to be a single parent, and being a 12-year-old girl in New York City and getting catcalled by guys on the street and not feeling safe. There's an element of mystery in this book that I wasn't expecting. I thought it was just going to be one of those coming-of-age stories, but there's kind of a science fiction-y element. I don't want to spoil it too much. Well, I guess the title kind of spoils it. The when you reach me part. When you reach me. Time travel. Anyway, Miranda's favorite book is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle, which was the book I reviewed last week. I recommend you read that book before you read this book if you have any intention of reading it, because this book spoils it. She is obsessed with this book, and so she spends a lot of the time debating how time travel would work and trying to figure that out, and telling the story to other characters, and yeah, she spoils the ending, so if you want to read that book, read it before you read this one. She also gets a signed copy because in 1979 Madeleine L'Engle was still alive, and I am super jealous of a book character, which doesn't happen very often, because A Wrinkle in Time was really good and I really liked it. I also really like this book because it was a little bit more realistic for me. Even though it had those sci-fi elements, it all seemed to work, and yeah, I kind of guessed the ending early because they did drop lots of hints, but by the end I was like, come on, figure it out, come on, figure it out, and I was kind of getting anxious not to figure out, who the secret note giver was, but rather to pull all the pieces together and have the main character figure it out, which is just as entertaining for me. I found it really engaging, and I would recommend it to just about anyone, probably ages 10 and up, because there are some adult themes, but they are dealt with through the eyes of a 12-year-old girl, so, they don't get too in-depth about those themes. I can see why this one won the Newbery Medal Award, because it is, well, I think distinguished is the only way I can describe it. It's very, even though it's written at a, ages 10 to 12 reading level, it's still highly sophisticated in the way that its plot twists are run, and the foreshadowing and the themes, and I'm not a literary critic, but I thought it was very literary, and I thought it was very entertaining, even just as a standalone novel, even if you've never read A Wrinkle in Time. So yeah, pick it up. Bye.